Now here I have a parabola and an equation, but this is now in what we call factor form. And because the actual parabola has been changed into, or basically is being shown in factor form, these are the factors. X, if you write a quadratic in its factor form, basically what you're doing is you're going x plus some number, could be anything, times x plus 3. This is just an example. I'm not actually creating anything, but it's in factor form. These are your factors. Okay? These are your factors. So if we take a look at our graph, if your graph crosses the x-axis, then you can use factor form, because these are your numbers here that go into your equation, h and c in this case. But again, it doesn't matter what the letters are. All right? So if you can identify those, and if we take a look at them, we can identify them as, this is basically a point, but we can just say it's -2, it's crossing at -2 and at +2. All right? So when we go to write the equation, and again, we don't have a stretch of any kind here, we can check, but we're going over one and up one. We don't have a stretch, so that just means that we just have to write the equation with two brackets, x and x, and then we just have to fill in here where the graph crosses the x-axis. Now, again, these are going to be opposites to what's in the graph, all right? So for the factors to be correct for where the x, they have to be opposite. So if this is -2, we'll write it as +2, and if it's +2, we'll write it as -2. So those are the factors of the quadratic. We could expand these out and write them out and find the quadratic in expanded form, but they're the factors, and they're going to be opposite to what's in the equation. Okay, we've changed the graph around a little bit, and if you take a look, it's very difficult to identify the vertex in this one, this graph. So using vertex form is probably not the best option for writing the equation, but it is clear where this graph is crossing the x-axis. So it's crossing the x-axis at, and it's a little hard for you to see the grid, but I can see the grid. It's at 3, so this is -3, and crossing here at 2, +2. So when I write the equation, I don't have to again worry about, well, I might have to worry about a stretch here because I don't know where the vertex is, but we're just going to say, if we take a look at the slider here, the slider is giving me a stretch of 1, so I'm safe. So x, and again, if it's -3, you have to write it as the opposite, and if it's +2, you have to write it as the opposite. Factor form, with no stretch of any kind. That's it right there.